Okay, let's get the show on the road. Sorry that it took so long. But hey, that's my new camp. Let's get the show on the road. That took me forever to get, due to the fact that it's a real anthem here in my city. Um, that's a total story for one different time. What I wanted to do this time is more focused on the writing part. I see some minor issues. Give me a sec. Yes, because it's not the writing about. Let's see. Yeah, it does matter. Give me a few seconds because I need to fix this quickly because you don't see it correctly. That is about 350, that is 250. Too small. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. You should be seeing it correctly. Yeah. If you have questions, if you have ideas, suggestions, if you don't agree with something, do say it in the chat box. The idea of the now session is that I be explaining what character making in simming is, and yeah, it's not the same as D&D. That's a concept that I've been presented a few years ago, and what dice is or something like that, and yeah, it's new. So yeah, what I will be focusing on is my own character, Anan, Vice Admiral Anan, because I'm a Trekkie. And the first thing I will explain is what is simming. Simming is a verb, a word that has been created over the years, back in the years, let's say 90s, zeros, somewhere. And it's short meaning for simulation. You create a character that simulates itself into a situation of any kind that's presented. You are a character that is either a Star Wars Jedi Knight, a smuggler in Firefly, or even a Battlestar Galactica pilot, or in my case, a Vice Admiral in the Star Trek universe. Give me one moment. Okay. Just asking. Oh. Just need to spam. Yeah. Everyone can hear me clearly without any problems. Sees me good. My internet connection is not that great, so the images of the camera will somehow crack up. But state it in the chat box if you can hear me good. And I will continue. Yeah, no wait. Yeah, character making has to do. You're basically making a person. You are making a person that is fit for your. How good, Adam? I am. How are you? Thanks for watching. That's always nice to see. Um, listening to me, to my sexy accent voice. But yeah, going back on the topic itself, creating characters. It's important piece. It's something that everyone has their own style, their own way of creating their character. Um, in in the old days, I started on when I was 11 years old and created a crappy bio of biographs. Sorry. That just did not have the details that I actually wanted to have. The right thing that it needs to get that angle. And over the years, I do this already 17 years. I created a character that is more detailed, that is more focused on its history, and that also creates its character, its personality, which is really important in making your character, because every character is unique. That's my personal opinion, by the way. Because if you have the same characters on your ship, on your story, it's get boring very quickly, and you want to avoid that as much as you can. So yeah, if you're hearing cracking sounds in the background, my dog is eating. So I can't help that. Because my dog has the ability to eat on the wrong moments. Anyway, the character. I'm getting distracted by my own dog. So I'm going to focus on my character Anam. For example, this is the layout in BFMS. Shameless recruitment here. This is Bravo Fleet that I'm part of. But they use a shorter version of the biograph that is actually used in the field. About 80%, 90% of the websites these days uses Nova or Forum for their actually writing simulations on the internet. So for example, I wanted to give you an example between two difference between the VMF system and an actual website that is doing more depth into the character itself. Shameless Recruitment uses Tornado, and this is my own character named Ryoku Takato. That's currently a prisoner in the Klingon Empire in the Civil War that they are having at the moment. So I hope to get her back in the future. But to go to the details, I need to watch the stream a bit, is this. You got the basic information, the personality, and the history tab. And you can see on the basic info page that you got character information that tells you what kind of gender it is, what kind of species it is, what the age is, physical appearance, family, you name it. This basic information that is required for a simmer, for a player, for another player to know where your character is coming from, how you imagine your character to look like. For example, I did some animations in my biograph that representative the two sisters of Ryuko. In this term, Rinko and Hayashi Takato. These are in my opinion, the fundamental piece that is required for character development, because they make who you are, and it's really important to have a family listed in your biograph, because it's easy to get into the history and recall the names when developing them. Going towards the personality. Personality is focused on the little things that makes your character your character. For example, your general overview gives a general feeling of who Ryuko is, how she thinks, and what her personality is. In my opinion, she's a cold ice queen that doesn't take shit for that much and gets straight to the point. But at the other side, when you break that ice, she's very sensitive and is really loving. She doesn't show it, but she will do everything for her crew. And in the story arc of my ship, the Tornado, she sacrificed her life for the greater good, to sacrifice her sacrifice herself to save her crew from being tortured by the sovereignty of KLS. And while it was confusing for my crew at the first time, they, in character that is, they appreciated loss on the turn and even got raged, angry that their captain had to sacrifice herself to save them. And it's a beautiful character development that really shows the in-depth relationship between your players. And but yeah, that's something I might be doing in the future, how to do relationships between your crew. But first time, it's focusing on the character development itself. You also have strengths and weaknesses. It's really, really important to have strengths and weaknesses summed up in what you are in your character, because your character is not Superman. It's as simple as that. If I put a phaser or a pistol towards your character's head and shoot, they will drop. Trust me, they will. And that's over. But it's a metaphor at the moment because there are some rules in that gaming, but it also gives you a balance of what your strong points are for your character, and you can play on that, but also the weak side of your character can be played and be enjoyable in character development. In her term, her weakness is the family, the traditions that she's been raised with by her traditional father that is very strict, to the point in the Japanese housing culture that was still held strong over the years through the Federation. And she's very strict. It's not seen as by many people as it's a weakness. Maybe it's a strength that you can have, but it's also, in my opinion, a weakness because you are too involved, and you might regret it on the last part that of the aftermath when being strict. So if my character punishes someone, she might regret it in the situation that follows afterwards. Also, hobby ambitions is does not have to be long. In my terms, I did not do it very long. I did to do it exploring in my term, and let's see. It is seen as something that's your character can work towards, but seeing that I'm already a captain and had no real ambitions with my character to go further than a captain level, I did not put really an ambition into it. And yeah, I like it that way. But if you will have like let's say an ensign that wants to become a captain one day, that wants to be part of Starfleet Corps of Engineering, wants to be the greatest chief in the whole galaxy, you can put it there. If it happens, that depends on how you play your character in and how your surrounding in your writing groups respond to you. Hobbies and interests are just a nice add-on of giving your character that nice feature of what it is and who they are. So I put hobbies and interests in there to give a vibe of what her interest area are. So when someone speaks to her about that topic, about something doing, or let's say I have extreme sports in my hobbies, and I like to do extreme climbing or snowboarding on the top of the mountain, and mission or a story that is evolving around that, my characters first to step up and to do it at once. That is something you can implement into the story itself, and it makes very interesting and very good character development. The history is the last step that I'm using to show you what I'm for a more detailed biograph. In this opinion is that you have to have a born section that tells about how she's born, where she comes from, what her childhood memories are of that time. After that, you can put how her school was, what her interest is, and how her development of the character itself, how her family, like I earlier said, had impact on her life. In this case, for me, it was my the father of Rico, my father. Wow. And how she had impact, how he got impact on her life, and how she began to think. She, for example, Ryuko was mostly of the moments defending her sisters from the cruelty of the traditions that her father kept up, and he was very strict. Bamboo sticks were not excluded, and I'm not going into details. So, but it was a harsh life, and she was always stepping up to protect her sisters, and that's why, for example, her weakness is her family, because if something happens to her family, she will go towards that family, her family, whatever happens, which also makes quite interesting conversations. Let's see. Then you start your in this term, but this is also applicable in Star Wars, in Firefly. Firefly not much, but can. But also in Battlestar Galactica, for example. You start an academic level. It can be short, it can be long. In my term, I did it shorter. I included both the life of my younger Ryuko and my student Ryuko. And after that, she got a degree into operations, got into her first assignment, because that's when you begin to create her history. In my terms, she became part of the USS Valkyrie, was the cryptology specialist, and involved and developed herself from there. It's up to you how far you want to go with this character. I did what is really required in extensive creating of the creation of your character. Oh my god, Titanic. How the hell did you get into my Spotify? You did not hear that, just saying. Okay. So it's up to you what you want to develop. You can be very short, you can be very basic about it, and state pretty limited information towards what you want. But you can also do some research. For example, I use the Bravo Fleet timeline extensively, and also memory data, or the Star Trek Wikipedia, to get information about the Dominion War, about the war battles in Bravo Fleet itself, like the Second Dominion War, like the crisis of the Omega Crisis, stuff like that, and include that in my story. But also smaller events that happened towards her made my character who she is. So she got promoted, she got evolved into what she now is, and it's pretty long in my own terms. And at the end, you cannot see that on the stream. Not going to edit that at the moment. But there's a service record of that timeline that is also coming back in the Bravo Fleet management system. Right about, this is kinda what I mean with a service record. So yeah, what's my work here is that I want to create an history for my character. I do need to say that if you want to, in my opinion, if you want to create a character good, you need to understand the character, and that's difficult to understand maybe, of the logical mind behind it. But if you play, I say, a Vulcan, and you don't know the traditions of it, you don't know the rituals of it, it's really hard, and you will be corrected by other Trekkies. It's the same with the Klingons, with the Trill. The Trill have a symbiote. I love playing a Trill, by the way. But yeah, you need to know it, and even I have to read everything to understand from that's how it's going and how their life is going, because Star Trek has a sickly big species database. Fact. Just the fact. And even for me, it's impossible to know everything about species, so I keep my focus on the information of Bravo Fleet itself and the timeline of it, and the battles, of course, and the starship classes. So, yeah, it's really important to know how Vulcans, for example, think. It's also their way of communicating. Because if you don't know how a Vulcan replies in a chat, or in the simulation or your story or your dialogue with your other player, it gets awkward. It gets weird, and like I said, you get corrected most likely. But yeah, it's something you don't need to forget. It's a really important key in the success of your character, and it also makes it more fun for other characters, because if you play a Klingon that don't accept diplomatic actions very good. Look at Worf on Enterprise. He had to be corrected very much every time by Picard, because he wanted to shoot every ship that came across that path. That's a fact. Yeah. Adam, just a question to you. I believe Sarah had some questions for me. Can you poker? Meanwhile, I'm going to try and get this show on the road of her history. Luckily, I already have her birth date, because that's always a calculating nightmare for me. Most of the times I start a biograph by mentioning where she's born, when she's born. In the BFNS, it's not really required because you already got birthday standing there, so it's not really required. Oh, I need to see it for a sec. Yeah. Yeah, I can choose to let her be born on one of the Vulcan colonies or be born on Vulcan itself. So that's one dilemma I want to think about for a sec, because there are also choices for your character to be born either on starbases, starships, colonies, you name it. It also kind of impacts your character. So to sum it up, you have a lot of environment. A lot of environment influence that influence your character. So let's see about this. Well, I'm boring. I say Vulcan. For now, no, it's not that. No, let's not do that. Yeah, Terry, you said you had some questions for me. Just ask him. Meanwhile, I'm trying to write. Let's see. Yeah. Well, what you might need to know about Vulcan is that Vulcan is actually mostly desertly placed. It's about 50%, maybe more, desert-ish. So I can put that into the stream. Yeah, just go ahead. I don't mind. I am writing a biograph in Brabantfleet, so go for it. Garden, garden places. Oh, looking. Oh yes. Give me a second. Yeah, if you think, what the hell is he doing? Well, I'm I'm really bad in names, so even I have to use the fantasy generator to get some good names. Carol. No, did and sounds pretty nice. Oh, so there's yeah. Okay. Yes. First question. How much of a character do you usually have to develop before you start playing an RPG? Sorry, RPG. Yeah, I say always RPG character. It really depends. You were not here when I described my Ryuko character. That's this character. But it really depends on what kind of character the character is in. Sounds really confusing, but what I mean is on what time frame, what age is that person. For example, Sakato is at a stage of she's 40 years old and has seen a lot of things in her character development. So, in my opinion, you should have some development, some character in what she is. For example, for another example, Dili, that is my engineering character on the Red Guard, is just out of the academy, is very young, is very insecure, and even thought you can develop her, you can write her as very expansively. It halts at a certain stop. I've seen people that do 4 or 5 pages of creating a character that's just out of the academy. In my opinion, that's overkill. But it's not impossible. In my opinion, you should have at least 3 paragraphs of who that character is, what that character is, where she's born, how she did in the academy, how the younger years were, and her trip towards the ship itself or the story itself. Okay. Does that answer a bit of your question? Yeah, my stream is a bit slower, so this makes sense. Someone just needs a few key facts. Just need to show. Defining life itself. For example, what I just said about Vulcans, like I said earlier, you're just in. So there's a difference, and major difference between developing a human and developing a Vulcan, or a human of a Vulcan or a Klinger. They have all different aspects of life. Vulcans tend to live longer, so their way of life has longer impact over time. So yeah, it does. It's is just stands over developing characters and worlds instead of kind of launching them into the setting. Tiliana, and I with Tiliana in this case, I just had to basic and jump in. I focused more on her personality than her history at first, and then crafted the history to fit in with the mission. That's really a good start, because you don't know what you can expect. It's really a good choice to go with that, but at the end, I would also use your history, as that defines who your character is. It's like my character here, Takato, is raised up in Japanese style traditions, and is therefore very strictly developed and very cold and very icy. But punching that through, cracking that nut, so to speak, and you get a better developed side of her that's sensitive and that's very mature, actually, that she needs very much caring. Your second question, I'm working on a new beefy Bravo Fleet. Why do I say beefy? Character, I'm looking to play a human who has diplomatic background but who feels distant to be destined to be a political force. Any suggestion for her background? She's an advocate type, but not really into violent action. Luckily, my own character, Anan, this the Vice Admiral I'm designing, comes out of the nature of diplomacy. Let me show you. Well, I need to find it. All right, yeah. As you can see, Anan is pretty much developed into the diplomatic corps. She has the skill to be staying calm. She has the skills to focus on the conversations and not get onto her skin. That's pretty much her feature, and it's really important feature as a Vulcan. That's playing in her advantage, because meditation helps in her negotiations forward. And in this case, she has served several times as diplomatic aide towards or diplomatic officer on a ship, on a colony like Bajor. She's been chief diplomatic officer on a Starfleet installation. But had to make the switch from diplomatic corps towards command, and that means turning in your pips as the orange pips to the red pips. But that feature, that service record, she kept over time. So yeah. There's not a lot of information about the diplomatic corps itself. I can check if I can find something for you on Bravo Fleet. Branches, diplomatic corps. Yeah, this page pretty much state the description of a diplomatic officer itself. What is chief diplomatic officer, an assistant, and diplomatic officer itself, diplomatic aide, but also an ambassador. So for the wins, I will give you the link. Here you go. So yeah, that's pretty much not how to develop a diplomatic character, but it's a start. You need to know what kind of character, it needs to be. Because, in my opinion, you cannot create Klingon. Yeah, there are debatable points about that, but it's an example. You cannot create a Klingon warrior and suddenly make him a diplomatic officer. Simple as that. And then there's the debatable piece. You got ambassadors in as diplomatic force of the Klingon Empire in the diplomatic corps. Yes, they are there, but it's not their prime feature. It's when seeing them discussing. Well, be prepared, because that's mostly fighting over terms, and most likely a battle or a knife will come to the table to fight it out like warriors. What I find important in developing a diplomatic character. Oh God, I'm going to storm in too much into this topic. Just say halt to me if I am going way too far with it. But the character development of a diplomatic officer is that it doesn't start in the creation of your character development on ships. It does not happen there. It happens before that. In my case, I wanted to create an interest in other cultures, interest in diplomatic affairs. I got a follow-up. I hear a follow-up, but I don't see it. Maybe delayed. Thank you for the following. I got delay, so I don't see that at once. Going back, I'm getting distracted here. Is that it happens before. For Vulcans, for humans, to help Tara a bit with her character, a human that has interest in diplomatic corps does not have to be involved with the diplomatic corps at once. She can be very social person, is easily to interact with, is extrovert, not introvert, is easy approachable. Key factors of a character development that you need as a diplomatic officer. Also, features like being character of race, species features like a Vulcan is very calm, a human is very ambitious, a Trill is very knowledgeable. Over time, they have the knowledge that they can use in their conversations, in their negotiations, and are very strong in the council. So that's something. Yeah, that's pretty much what you can use in your development of your character. I hope that works in your favor for you, Tara. I get Psycho saying suddenly no, but over a course of time and change, it would be very interesting to see a warrior suddenly become at the head of a major house and adapt to being a political warrior in the High Council. Yes, that's debatable because I'm developing a storyline in the Klingon Empire. How to integrate their society into the storyline, and what I find out is that the High Council, you got the Counselor of the Prime High Counselor, that's Gowron, no Mortok. Was it Mortok? Mortok. And below that is the High Council. But what people don't know is that the High Council only has 20 seats. It's not all houses. It's not all houses that exist in the Klingon Empire. you got a sub-council below it that answers towards the higher council. Also, you have how do you call that? A hierarchy of house structure. So let's say the house of Martak has like has a major house. It's a major houses can be part of the High Council, and below that you have infrastructure houses. One house functions like border control, warrior, military control. One house is focused on engineering. One house is focused on gardens, like planetary food and stuff like that. There's always one house that does scientifically, but you need to remember on the scientific part that science is not the major priority of the Klingon Empire itself. Very interesting to see, because that makes the Klingon technology outdated. Because they don't focus on that. They just want to wage war, focus on warrior traditions, stuff like that. And in a way, that works in their disadvantage. And I'm trying to develop that they slowly start to upgrade their systems, because it's really needed. Yeah, you got that. If there are more questions or suggestions or debatable stuff, just throw it into the chat. I'm there for you. I can talk about that. Yeah, I'm going to try again. Focus on my character Anan. Let's see. Well, she is born on the rare district. Yeah, district of Gardens on a Vulcan under the care of Dit and Tapalar. In what was it again? 2360, 2364, 46. Yeah. Okay, how is it? So. I need to, like I said, it's very important to have information of the character's species. If you don't have that, you don't know how to play it, and it will look weird and will get into your disadvantage when playing it. So let's see. I need Vulcans. Why do I not see it? Oh well, I'll go with this. Yeah, I know I'm shamefully using memory better, but in my opinion it has the most structured information that I can use when it comes to species. I don't trust them too much with other stuff. But yeah. What I want to look for. Oh, good. Didn't know that. The average is 1.7, and males are damn high. Wow, I didn't know that. Cool. Let's see. Medical conditions. We know that one. Splinter species. Yeah, I know that. Culture. Very logical. Let's see. Mythology. Family life. Family life. So extremely disciplined, very close knit. Vulcans noted for their more complex family relationship compared to humans, such as let's see. Okay, that's interesting. Most of the time I play humans or Trills as character. So Vulcan in this case was a full-fledged Vulcan in this case. It's the first time I do this. I did read a lot about them, but stuff like this is like family. I didn't know. I did have a suspected it that it had that. So yeah. Let's see. Overruling. What they are saying in short is that the family is very important to them, very strict, very close knit, and has a quite complex family relationship structure. They use eldest of the house structure, like matriarch is in charge of the affairs in the house. I wonder, however, if that's the male or the female. Don't really see that, but they do say that the family has pre-planned marriage. So when basic logical calculations as far as beginning. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Interesting. The society of the house where a nun is part of. It's not like any other Vulcan house. Differently. Just strict and bound towards their traditions. So the function. Let's look for the. I wonder, would a house do their own functions? Like, let's say that one house is focused on ship engineering or ship design, and another house is focused on, let's say, engineering on research and development, stuff like that. Or would it be that it's like the humans, everyone has their own thing where they are specialized in? I would say the second, because it would be weird, but it's not something I would exclude very much in something that would not happen. No, I have not read the book series of Prey. I believe that's the book series of the Klingons. I did see them in the Wikipedia. I was tempted to buy them. But no, I don't have it. Sorry, Psycho. Her parents were focused on their jobs. The Vulcan science. What was that name again? Oh. I believe it was a Vulcan Science Society that was primarily used as institute for these society. With like grammar. That was the primary source of the institute that developed the research and development, and also was part of the Daystrom Institute at the Federation. Oh crap, you don't see that. What I'm writing. My apology. The organization of houses suggests that the minor house focus on engineering would coordinate with other houses and focus on R&D to get materials they would need to build. The house representing them and the council will be coordinating these efforts. So in other words, this is Vulcan cycle, or is it Klingon? Because Prey sounds very much as Klingon book line. Her parents were focused on their jobs and the focus of science society, and oh yeah, no, I know that. That's what I just said. This is more a question about the Vulcan society. How they work. Would they work like the same as Klingons? Would they work like the same as humans in traditional work relationship? I would say like the humans, in my opinion. Her parents were focused on their jobs and focused on society and contribute into the research fields of warp. No, that would not be it. Would be astronomical and medical development. Let's make them a bit fancy, shall we? Okay. This gave a view of the learning progress of what the society of the development within the Vulcan science society had to offer. For Vulcans, an efficient avenue to communicate and obtain needs for goods and services would be the most logical system, since they are also post society. I have no idea how to say that. There would not be an abundance of red tape interfering in the acquisition of services. Yeah, I would agree with that, Psycho. Okay, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, cheese. Her skills were shown at a younger age. At a younger age, due that her parents noticed her open mind thinking and extroverts communicating communicating, and how would you develop that? You know this mind thinking. Let's do problem solving. Ability. Yeah. Which was always part of our discussion with her teacher. Middleman, middle person in the development of certain disagreements. As I cannot say fights, because in the society of Vulcans, your you don't have fights. Vulcans don't fight. They maybe no. Even the at the Kirk, the new movies of Kirk, they showed that Spock had was getting picked at by other Vulcans because he was a human. I believe even at that young age, maybe a fight. It's now a more logical fighting than actually word fighting. That's debatable, because it's mutual disagreement. That's more the safe part of this, I would say. Chat can be totally going loose and say no, that's not true. But I don't see actual fights which you have in like a Klingon society or a human society that people bring out the fist and fight their opinions about it. I don't see that at Vulcan, basically. For the species that values the suppression of emotion or in favor of logic, teasing becomes about who can provoke someone else to express emotion. The person who does so could be put down a bum. Yes, that is correctly. But what you forget to mention and to maybe get a puzzle in Psycho is that a Vulcan that's getting picked on is elder, is more mature. I'm talking about children. Children actually don't have the control over the emotions just yet. And that's where she's in at the moment. And that's why I'm doubting about if I would cross the line and saying she's disagreement or she's stepping into an actual fight and trying to calm it down. So that's really debatable in that logical term. I need to keep the time and watch because I believe there's a need to keep the time and check because I need to get to Red's guard for some good simming. Middle of the what? So she was always part of discussions with her teacher. Was the middle of a person in development of certain disagreements, and open-minded. Yeah, it's debatable at certain points because, and luckily, Psycho is the more person that most bring the logical thing that is debatable. and most discussable because, for example, in this case, we don't know about what a logical child at younger age of a Vulcan does, or how smaller ships work with certain, let's say, engineering problems of using a cloaking device. Would it work? Would it not work? Yeah, it's the debatable pieces. So yeah, you're right. And open-minded. No, not open-minded. And offering resolvement in. Oh, that's cool. Okay, didn't know that. Offering revolvement. No, that's not right. That's also let's see. And offering solutions. Solutions towards practical problems. Oh wow. Practical. I love them. So, like I said, oh, I need to update this before I lose it. Like I said, it has phases, and now I'm going into the phase where she, let's see if it worked. She is entering the school area, school status. So not yet when she becomes part of the Minutemen. But even before that, even before she's part of the academy, before that. And again, this is my opinion about it. What you do with your own characters or your own approach. But I believe that a well-detailed biograph about someone's past is always enjoyable to read, and it creates character, personality, kind of. Let's see. So, development between her younger self and towards the academy is now the point. And let's see if we can find something about that. School. Logical was similar to a religion to the Vulcans, and such it filled with many sects as well as schools, each of which had widely different views and points of opinion. Okay, that's conflicting. The more foremost school. Oh, wow, that school has a name. It's named after the most famous person. Well, they're very original with the name, so. Chapeau. The school of Surak had many techniques which opened the mind of the students, perceiving where the students' difficulties and strongest emotions lay, and adjusted the mind's process so the student can more completely face an emotion of control. Wow. Brainwashing! When I just read this, I'm like, they're brainwashing children. Damn. But I'm not complaining. famous school within the Vulcan society. Society. And cigar school. Religion. And ways of Suvka. Surrock. As well to bring more focus towards her mind and comments. And what did they say? It needs to move. Towards her mind. Towards opening her mind and getting control over the most difficult emotions. I believe Tara's character Taliana has difficulty over her emotions, most likely. I wonder if she replies about that. Control over the most difficult emotions, yeah. Let's see. Does working on Vulcan minds when Vulcan was unable to control his emotion, his family was the vote of Surak to deal with it. When the Vulcan willingly gives it to his emotions, it was one goal of those who followed the commands of Surak to help him resolve his problem. Holy crap, this is brainwashing. You got problems, go to the church. Huh. One of the most completing teaching at school, study reason above all else. He thought that the Vulcan should learn this reality both as it seemed to be and it truly was. This kind of sounds like Buddha. This line. This one. What's your opinion about this, Chat? If you're still paying attention. Let's see, the secting of the truth from illusion that spurred the Vulcans into intense study of science and mathematics. Aha! Patience, temperance, logical observations, and for the three great virtues. Yes. I am genuinely going to use this. Let's see. Let's see, patience. Okay, going to add it a bit. Patience, temperance, and logical observations were the three virtues, the greatest virtues of Vulcan culture and all. Okay, that is overkill. Thought. Oh wait, what? Towards and one. To treasure these virtues. She became more skilled in her diplomatic. No, wait. There's a different word for that. Not diplomatic. Oh god. Social interaction. Yeah, social interaction. Skilled in her social interactions with society and her surroundings. When being faced, even in simulations that were brought towards the students, a nun excels. No, how do you say it? Oh, wow. Oh no. Okay. And then excels. That's the word. Excels. Excellent. Oh. Was top student. Was the top student at that topic? Tradition. Let's see if they have rituals. Most likely they do. Vulcan's rituals. Yeah, I need to know the Vulcan rituals. Let's see. We got Kulniar, Far to Pan. Yeah, Pan Far is pretty much pawn. Fall to Var. Fulala. Right. No, well, let's see what we can use. Was a visual that works. Oh god. Let's see. Those that took part of the Golden began a progress of purging themselves of remnants of their emotions, embracing total logic. I can use this. So, the Vault of Pan, also known as a Refusion, was originally known in the Vulcan god race. It was an appendix pattern displacement technique that only trained members of the Vulcan people. The purpose of the ritual is to reunite the Katra of the Vulcan with their body. Huh. Okay. Not that I need. The Paltuva was a name of a Vulcan treatment used for those suffering a ritual imbalance that can only be cured. No. Vulcan mind mouse and skipping. Let's see. Fulala. Is absolute Vulcan ritual with designed to repress certain parts of the memory as well as any emotion associated with that memory. Oh, I want to use that right now. Oh, goody. The Rite of Tulat. Yeah, I still got I got pretty good taste in music, I have to say. The Rite of Tulat is a Vulcan desert survival ritual conducted by young adults. Gotcha! Required to survive for 4 months in the desert with only a ritual blade being in their position. There's a more less offense. That's interesting. Ooh, let's see. Extra. Yeah, those are the maturity tests. time it was forbidden. Those children that were wounded or discovered by an honor were left until the current student returned home at the end of the survival course. Wow. Man, Vulcans were cold ass in that. You think the culture of Klingons was hard? Check this one. Jeez. Oh well. I need discourse. I don't really. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. She was. She entered the ritual of the rites. Again? No, wait, you can say she entered. Let's go. The ritual. It's not where. Where she was exposed towards the dangers of the Vulcan desert with only desert and arms with only a ritual knife. After 4 months survival in the desert, she found her peace. That sounds like she died, no? She found control over her mind and emotions to be more balanced. Oh. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, we got that phase. So I got my phase that she is she's born where her interest is at a younger age, and he already developed skills in development of it. And now I also have the later scores of what she done in the scope phase towards the academy phase. So she was opened up towards Suruk's ways as a religion, and yeah, and how she survived those times with ending the ritual of the Rite of Tolat. That made her perfectly in balance with her mind and emotions. I have no idea. 9 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to stop in 9 minutes because Red Guard is going to start soon. I'm going to look if I can join in for something that I can do in regards of my character. Neo, Cobalt. Yeah, I do know Chinese, just saying. So what I'm going to do is that for the last 8 minutes I might do a follow-up on the no stream. Oh, okay. Thanks for the information, Radguard. Okay, what I'm going to do anyway, before continuing my character development, if you have questions that you like to know, oh, I need to stop watching there and need to watch there because my shed is there. So it's really annoying. But okay. If you have questions about anything that I'm doing now, about the development of a character, about the struggles you might have, just ask and I will give my personal opinion about it. How you have to do it. It's up to you what you do with it, of course. So yeah. If there are no questions in particular for my streamers, I will continue with the next phase of my biograph. That's the academic part where she's accepted into the academy, and yeah, I got some good stuff in store for that to develop her more. Actually, so to say. Let's see. When finally, finally in control of both and emotions. Positions, application, stuff. Support of parents and Sugarok School. By the as reference. As reference. Wait, this yeah. So that's the reference. Yep. Let's see. Well, basically, Starfleet Academy, how it looks like is most of the people know, but this is a one-on-one character creation. A character creation that is focused on in the academy about the first year being the test, the intro year. Second year is more the basic year, and the third year is more the specifically specialized year on the department you want to focus on. If you look further towards the fourth year, is that they will most likely see practical projects and how do you call it? Projects, work related stuff get experience in the field, stuff like that. And then see. You see the news that the carrot. See, that happens always with me. So it means that the application that was sent was accepted. No, not really ships, internships. What you have in the old days, because if you look at movies, Cobalt, you see that, for example, you got Kirk that is using in his younger years as student, as cadet, the test on a Miranda class, both in simulation but also in space, and those are mostly tied towards the Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy uses mostly old ships as academically simulated ships. So someone will help me with reminding that training part where you have to fail whatever you do. I keep forgetting it. Because no, something. But what is possible is that you can have an internship at the department in Starfleet on Earth itself, at Starfleet Command or Starfleet Medical, Starfleet Science, the Corps of Engineering, Marines are a different topic, but yeah, stuff like that. Let's see, what was sent was the academy was accepted. And she said her goodbyes to her parents and thank them both what he can to receive from them. Keep remembering that a Vulcan is thankful for whatever and grateful for whatever our other person is doing for them. Look at the Paul or Spark. They were always grateful for whatever another person was doing for them, even if sometimes it was unwantedly. They were always grateful for the development of in their favor. If it's friendship, if it's doing something, yeah, it was always with a lot of grace at the end, depending on the situation, of course. Let's see, we got. It's accepting. She said her goodbyes towards her parents and thanking both weekend. First year. And within the academy, she and then minor difficulty. Most likely with capital, yes. In the first year she was But within the academy, she had more difficulty with the lessons. With the following the lessons and yeah, lessons and scored high grades. Unusually for a woman gained much support from her classmates. Why is it unusually for her to gain more support from her classmates? It's basically because a Vulcan is by nature a stubborn person, meaning that she would a Vulcan rather solves it itself than asking someone else for help. By that default, by that characteristic personality, you take the feature away that she's extrovert, so she cannot approach people. Because my character is extrovert, she is approachable. She gets more people at her side without problem. So she's kind of taking the role of a class head in disputes of class affairs. She was mostly involved to solve it, and later recognized for her skills again into the works of spheres of class defense. She was mostly to solve it in the reference from skills again and got herself elected into the student board of the academy. I would just suspect that in the current society, at least in my society, I believe in also in the other countries, you have a student board, and it's at university level, it's at high school level, not in every country, but it is here. So I would suspect that it would also be at the Starfleet Academy itself. Well, if you, what's your opinion about it, Shet, on that topic? Because I find it interesting to see if the voice of a student is still heard in the Starfleet Academy. I mean, I would say so that it would be heard because of the ideological setup of the Federation itself. So yeah, give your opinion about it. Got selected on the board. Okay, okay. Let's see the second year. We've got self-involved as into courses Uh, Reviewing old courses that were outdated. Outdated. I'm making a stop-skilled student. I just noticed, but it's in a way she's also not, and she's still sensitive, I think, because she's focused on being the perfect student, and at the same time she lacks on other fields like let's say, but does get noticed in the second year that her skills in the fields of let's say tactical and security is not her strongest point. Strongest point. And would also mean, and it's more the advanced elements that difficult for her. Let's see. Go else. You are saying they have an academy board meeting, so the student council would be around. Class it would teach leadership. Yeah, that's the basic function of an academy board or student board in the current society. I've been part of a student board myself for 4 years, and I have to say I've learned a lot from it. Being part of something and getting stuff in control. Yes, I did get paid for it, but at the other side of this coin of this, that I had to work hard for it. Being a representative of, what's it again? 30,000 students. So, yeah, what I choose, I had to reflect on them. Pretty heavyweight, but it was worth it, in my opinion. Involved in which of course secured not restoring response it's and advanced where let's see the third year where it was broken was she choose her path on the diplomatic course. This was not surprising for pretty low skill set and experience she already gained. Oh, okay. Let's see. Like I said, if someone has questions or something, just ask. I don't bite. However, I know, however, lost control on time over emotions and no music. Nope. Let's see. Sorry. I kind of have the feeling that it might be something similar to how the Students' Council is in Japan, but most likely it would like how the military academy might have it, but not sure. That's the big difference between Starfleet Academy and a military academy, I think, because in a way, Starfleet is a fusion of the normal academy and a military academy. So I don't personally think that academy like a Starfleet academy is purely military, because it also teaches different things aside from prioritizing on military itself. Like I said, its first stage is intro of the basic knowledge of history of Earth, of the basic knowledge of its other species, stuff like that. Also, the second year is more advanced on what departments really are, advanced on the medical part of biological, of all species, of different species, how they work, how they think, the psychological part. And in the third phase, you choose your department, like I described right now, and you focus on that development. So if you go medical, you focus on the medical academy, not military. If you got security or tactical, you do military. And all that is put to the test of that. My iPhone is doing funny. And I would say that at the end of the course, you're a full-fledged Starfleet officer. Whatever course you take, whatever part you take, I think the Starfleet Academy is more like an umbrella society that is an overall system. So yeah. Mako with a C, by the way. But I know what you mean. No, Mako is actually not a military. It's the predecessor of the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps also falls under the Starfleet Academy, in a way, with their military boot camp. Also enlisting people that that's debatable in my opinion, but they can be part of the Starfleet Academy, but also part of the Marine Corps itself. Depends on their part. But with them as add-on on the Starfleet Academy, they don't make themselves military per se. They give military courses, but they are not overall military. So no. Lost control. Meanwhile, just continue. Let's see. And then, however, lost control one time over her emotions after a personal attack at the academy by one of her fellow students. This resulted in an outburst of emotions towards that student, and also medical had to step in. She later on apologized for this action, and And also society. Society in ads. Add. They could join in many courses like PFI, Marine, share the same training. Yeah, but it's still military. I do not understand what you mean, but they're still military, and that would not still define Starfleet as Starfleet Academy as a military institute. They are military force, yes, Starfleet itself, that is, but Starfleet Academy, in personal opinion, I don't recognize them as a military institute. I see them as military, offering military courses, not more. She had to regain the trusts of her fellow students, and she entered the fourth and last year. It took quite 6 months. Internship. That's the Diplomatic Corps. 2 months, 26. 6 months. Diplomatic Corps, basics. What is officer 40? It was actually choose. Yes, guidance. Different perspective of species. Yeah. Okay. So I got now the academy phase. She wet Gemini to join. He uses Minutemen as their diplomats. Nope. Diplomats 8. Okay, so I got now the academy phase in creating this character. Let's see. Well, that looks pretty nice. good start. Yeah, I like it. But now I have the service record phase that I have to implement into the story, and I'm not that great in putting those details into it. Let me check for a second. So I'm going to do this. It's so she passed. She's at the beginning of the Dominion Wars. It's interesting. Because that means that she's in a critical time where her... What's this? I'm not going to change that. Which means that she is in the diplomatic phase, in a critical phase of the Dominion War. So I need to check that up in our history of Bravo Fleet, because we got our Bravo Fleet timeline. Let's see. Influence. I know somewhere. Timeline. Okay. Let's see this. Better. The 70s. Okay. We got the Federation Condition Treaty currently negotiating Admiral formally ends the Dominion War. She can be part of that. Federation Condition War. What? So I can use this. Because she's in diplomat. Let's see. Federation Treaty. Federation Condition Treaty. Immigration. Negotiating guide. Formally ends the Condition War. Following the station. Condition War. This is where the uses Minutemen and diplomatic team. Oh no! Wait, diplomatic team aided into the negotiation. Give me a sec. Negotiations, aided into negotiations what's the Admiral? It was a critical point for the Admiral to look the stress that comes with the job, his lives are at stake in this matter. Let's see. I was thinking about something about character creation, making a box for only CEO X and XO. And these you can look at. So you can put a note into. Yes, that's. I know what you mean. You want to have like for intelligence personnel to have a secret section um, as information that is only accessible by task force personnel, fleet personnel, or CO personnel, or those that have the access of that. Something like that you want? Let's see. So it is visualize. No, it's definitely useful, and you can add it into the your character's history, um, and it also gives character towards your um, character's history in a way, if you get what I mean. By doing that, you also got some personality, but also use that personality of what happened towards that character in your development of your character on a simulation. In this regard, the Red Guard, I believe, yeah. Red Guard. So yeah, it's definitely a thing you can do. But keep in mind, it's secret stuff has its boundaries. Even you cannot take it too far. By that I mean that even if you're part of the Starfleet intelligence branch, you cannot assassinate someone or be a superhero or something like that. You're not James Bond, simply. It needs to be, and that's the most important part and most important tip I'm going to give anyone. Be realistic, because in my opinion, Star Trek is the most realistic series that is out there. No, it's doing something is yeah, basically blackmailing actually can be done, because that's not superpower, that's not a James Bond style, something like that, but it can have results on you. It can have a character trait that you got guilt over something. You accidentally kill someone or something like that, and it will haunt you for the rest of your life. And like I said in the beginning, when you were not there yet, Cobalt, is that a character development takes time. So in the beginning I had a very short and very crappy biograph, but it was a start for me. It was like not even one paragraph. Seriously, it was bad. Um, yeah, it didn't make sense. It was very illogical, but it was a start. And over time, you learn how to make a good. No, you're not going to blackmail me. That's impossible. um, but in time, you develop yourself into creating a longer biograph. I mean, I'm only at my fourth stadium of creating this her history. It takes a lot of time and a lot of research of how to creating some characters. So yeah. I want to some sheets at Kardashians. And let's see. Service records. So I'm doing a bit of a time skip now. At the start, yeah, ceasefire was reached between the coalition. Yeah, I know that. I know that too, but the Minutemen was not part of that. Because we were in the Ryan sector. Let's see. Yes. That. Oh. Accepting the wire. The back. Well, for those that are still watching, I do hope you still enjoy it, the stream, and that you are learning something about of this. Lives. Damn it. Left backgrounds. About the line. Damn it. Oh, yeah. Ryan people. They got acceptance. Status. coins or variation. Let's see, we got 23 to yes. Let's vote. Where? In my biograph or in the Wikipedia? Cobalt. Choosing talent. Page. Let's see. What did I say? Damn it. 23. Wait, that's a different section. Interesting. And it is 16 energy. Sure. Just BNB. Because I think I have blocked up the links possibility in this screen. Let's say introduced to step away from the rank was 22.76, right? Yeah. Yeah. Information select. Actually. As max 8. Okay. Totally passive. Passive. Let's the emphasis of Earth. Focus. To major. Oh, focus. MC. this to improve the animation. Should that mean species? Let's see, it's the species. Yep. I got it. Yeah, that's true. I still have the Wikipedia page is still under development. I shamefully have to admit to that. So yeah, we still have to add that towards the list. That's a list of treaties that has been done by Browfleet itself. So yeah. Oh. No. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I've got quite some history. Yeah, pretty much like this. So I'm pretty much about here. Yeah, that's where I am at the moment. So she takes her rank back in 2380. So she served for 4 years at that ambassador's place, gaining a lot of information. No, it's okay, Kubel. You don't have to apologize or something like that. It's a learning process, and it's not I didn't misunderstand that. So yeah. Let's see. So she became a lieutenant commander at Raya as chief diplomatic officer. But what happened in that time is the question. Let's see. 80? Yeah, 80. Yeah, Shaklan. There's the sort of Jeez, a lot of crap space. Need to do something with that. Nothing really happens in Raya in this time. Let's see. 2 years. Just 3 years actually. She can be part of this. But that didn't take place at... Where did this take place? Let's see. This takes place at Union, so it's not Ryan. Can't use that. So can I use that? no, this is short. 1 year. So it's short notice actually from the work she did. Maybe Omega Crisis in 23. Yeah, I can do that. Let's do that. So short notice about she returns towards the Starfleet ranks in 2380 and promotes as the chief diplomatic officer on Orion. What was the name? Riot 3. At Riot 3. Developed herself higher into the ranks. She got promoted. No. What's important in creating a biograph also is to try to balance between the I form, so in this person like she, he, I, stuff like that, and the name of the character, because it can get confusing if you don't use too much of the I form. Anan reached the rank of captain in, what was it again? 23. Yeah, 2383 and commanded the vessel USS Singapore. That was primary focused on border control in the Raya sector. As you can notice, is that I'm really pushing her into working into an area where she already is a TFCO. So it's basically normal. Because that, in my opinion, makes sense. If you make a character that has history in, let's say, with the Breen or the Kardashians or stuff like that, it would make sense that the person itself would return towards that area because they know what is happening there. Or that a person that has experience over time serving on ships or star bases that work close towards the Breen or the Klingon space, and they tend to stick around that area. Just saying. Primary focus on border control in the Raya sector, and a year later got transferred towards the USS Assault. And she was, let's see, while performing while performing as the chief of staff in task force. What did I say? 68. And a year later transferred towards user's thoughts, Galaxy class and less. Remember that class ships are most of the time with capital letters. Just saying. It's like names, surnames, stuff like that. So like the user stuff that's a name, so that's with capital letter. So that means also the Galaxy class name also needs to be with a capital letter. Oh, wait. Let's see, second. Okay. And then I need a puzzle. Yeah, that's when the whole raid in the Task Force 93 begins. In 2388, she was transferred. No, she was reassigned. Assigned towards Task Force 93 as their new Task Force executive officer to assist the task force in the diplomatic affairs of what has happened and known as the Gorn invasion involving a Gorn crisis. However, due to a change of commands within the task force, she was promoted towards Rear Admiral. Oh wait, task force command execute with the rank of Commodore to assist in the task force. However, during change command, she was promoted to Rear Admiral. Took command of Task Force 93. While the sovereignty of Kahless was forming, and then became known of their development and had to wait in the dangers of it. The rogue houses were on a path of war and will most likely attack the RTC. She made most and how do you say that? And making choice that to have a secret meeting with some veteran captains that works at the Klingon borders to step forward to ask them to step forward to ask step forward to okay, splitting this, so it's better like that. Captains that worked at the planet to ask them to step forward for a moral sacrifice. Right. The USS Tornado of the captains Staccato, Dimax, and God, what's the other name? Let's check that out. Wow, so much. Alright. That name I needed. And the meds. Step. Step. Damn it. Step forwards to. Request. Because they understood what it meant, what it means to, what it means. The needs to afternoon outbreaks, the needs of the man in this situation. The damage was higher than expected. The damage was expected, and it was higher than expected as 5 ships operate. 5 ships got attacked by the newly formed SAR. Sovereignty of Kahless. So 5 ships got attacked by the uniform certainty. All diplomatic, communications. No, it's not. And then got later on promoted towards the rank of the Vice Admiral by dual outstanding operational logical logic. No, it is operational. Your option, outstanding operational operations. Okay. This is pretty much done. Need to add one more rank. Oh wait, that's already added. Okay. So there you have it. A character made biograph from not from scratch. That's one point, but uh, yeah, it's pretty much done. Mm, let's see. Get general information about who she is and what she does. The history, stepwise, and service records. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, most likely I think I will do this again, but on a different subject, uh, to give some aid towards commanding officers, maybe. But if you have questions, just PM me in Discord for those that have me on Discord, or visit bravofleet.com and join there the Discord and ask for Black Wolf. If you have questions about creation characters or different questions. Until until later. Have a nice day all. Bye.